When Kokoliko FM began documenting the wave of killings that had gripped Chingola earlier in the year, fear had become part of everyday life. Residents were locking their doors earlier. Business owners constantly looked over their shoulders, while taxi drivers thought twice before accepting late-night passengers. Today, police say they might be getting closer to understanding who was behind some of the violence that shook the mining town. Among those detained is 73-year-old Fanro Maspiri, a retired Road Transport and Safety Agency officer who is being held as part of investigations into a series of violent crimes linked to Chingola and surrounding areas. A well-placed source told Kokoliko FM that a firearm allegedly recovered from suspected criminals was registered in Mr. Piri's name. Investigators also suspect that vehicles may have been supplied to a gang believed to be connected to robberies and killings across the region. Investigations by Kokoliko FM have established that Mr. Piri is currently being held at Riverside Police Post in Chingola as investigations continue. For many residents, the allegations are difficult to believe. Neighbors in Chingola Central say they never suspected the retired Road Transport and Safety Agency officer could be connected to criminal activities.
Tetu mone pono kumona titi bachitapo nefya musango efi auna chitupesha mano
bali futi balaba amabalya tefoto abeshi bekuno kutu twali bapelo muchinzaza sana fye bango manje futi kudabwa futi bali sasa ngo futi mudini nobwino apa natfilo kushiningisha na fo bene fo bakuno.
But police believe the case may provide crucial clues about the source of illegal firearms and the networks behind a wave of attacks that has left dozens dead. But who were the victims of the violence? Investigators are now trying to unveil to understand why the latest arrests matter. It is necessary to revisit the killings that left Chingola living in fear. On February 24, 2026, taxi driver Lisa Nyangoi was found dead inside his vehicle. 2 weeks later, another attack claimed 2 more lives. Gift Chilambe and Francis Zimbali were shot and killed, adding to a growing list of victims whose deaths remain etched in the memories of residents. But these killings did not occur in isolation. They formed part of a pattern of violence that had been unfolding for months. Since September 2024, Chingola has recorded at least 29 murder cases, roughly 1 killing every 20 days. Behind every statistic is a victim, a family, a community searching for answers. The trail of violence stretches back to September 13, 2024, when mobile money agent Morgan Chileya was shot dead at his home in Kabundi North. The attackers escaped with approximately 200,000 kwacha. Weeks later, another attack. 2 mobile money operators were ambushed at their mother's home. 44-year-old Dixon Kawe was shot in the head and died instantly. Mazuba Mundubeko suffered a gunshot wound to the stomach and later died from his injuries. The attackers escaped with cash and a motor vehicle. The victims appear to have one thing in common. They handled money, they were visible, and they were vulnerable. On January 10th, 2025, businessman Katula Sinkamba survived an attack while leaving his home. He was shot in the hand. Others would not be as fortunate. Across the district, fear continued to spread.
My business twalaira njira kufu twalayirombera kufe kubuteko bulolekeshepo pali security ya Chingola koza abantu bafa bafula abantu fe balefa kwa na kalimolimbe katwishi apawa monefi twalufye bamazuba twalufye bamogani mamona te so pamongo obuteko tulalomba kona ka security kaba ko fe bwino
As the killings mounted, community leaders began demanding for answers. Bishop Ellison Bwalia was one of them.
Enough of toilets, enough is enough. Twanaka kulila, muri inshira. Shana nomba tabai kata profena ngubabili. Uelesa, basokorole.
Police investigations eventually led officers beyond Chingola. On April 5th, 2026, 5 suspected criminals were killed during a shootout in Mshindamo district between Chingola and Solwezi. Authorities recovered 4 firearms. Police believe the group was linked to the murders and robberies committed across Chingola, Solwezi, Kitwe, and other parts of the Copperbelt. The discovery raised a troubling question. Were these isolated crimes, or was an organized criminal network operating across the region? The arrest of Fanuel Mauspiri has only deepened those questions. If investigators are correct, how did firearms end up in the hands of suspected criminals? Who supplied the vehicles allegedly used in the attacks? And how extensive is the network? Police are now investigating. Mwalayoyi is Copperbelt Police Commissioner.
And more suspects still remain at large. So we are still working very hard to bring to book these suspects who are still at large. We shall not allow a situation where criminals are acting with impunity to disturb the peace which people of Chingola, people of Copperbelt must enjoy. Our duty as police is to ensure that we create a conducive environment for the citizens. As much as we do this, we know our limits, but let me just say it's regrettable that certain lives have been lost, and this is what it is in such circumstances. So we want to assure the people of Chingola in particular that we are on top of things and will continue remaining to be on top of things.
For residents, the concern is no longer simply about crimes that have already happened. It is about what could happen next. If illegal firearms remain in circulation and criminal networks remain active, the threat has not disappeared.
Ndikonzendi pali file chitika Chingola infuti nje balefunya kwisa abantu abale chitaki abantu infuti wapokelera sana infasha kwebati abantu balefana infuti tuli abakulanda sana pali file chitika.
Chingola remains a town built on copper, but today it is also a town confronting difficult questions about crime, policing, and public safety. For families who have lost loved ones, answers cannot come soon enough. Reporting for Kokoliko FM in Chingola, I am Beverly Busanga Subeti.